The old warship Relentless shuddered as another blast struck its armor. Inside the bridge, Captain James Miller grabbed his chair's armrests tighter, watching as red warning lights flashed across every screen. The ship's AI displayed damage reports faster than any human could read them, but the message was clear. They were in serious trouble. Hull breach on decks 3 through 5. We're losing power to the main guns, Lieutenant Tom Parker shouted from his station, his fingers dancing across the controls as he tried to reroute emergency power. Miller watched the tactical display with growing concern. 5 sleek alien warships circled the Relentless like sharks, their superior technology evident in every graceful movement. Behind his ship lay Henderson Colony, its evacuation ships still loading with civilians. They needed 10 more minutes to get everyone off the surface. 10 minutes they probably didn't have. "Rex, give me options," Miller called out to the ship's eye. The artificial intelligence's deep voice filled the bridge, steady despite the chaos. "Available combat power at 31%. Main weapons offline. Shields failing. Recommended course of action. Retreat." Another hit rocked the ship. Miller shook his head. "Not happening, Rex. Those civilians down there are counting on us." He turned to his tactical officer. "Load all remaining missiles. Target their lead ship." "Sir, we only have 3 missiles left," Parker reported, his face pale but determined. "Then we better make them count." Miller opened the ship-wide comm. "All hands, brace for combat maneuvers." The Relentless might have been old, but she was built tough. 30 years of service had left her scared and patched, but those patches held stories of survival. Miller had served on her for 12 of those years, working his way up from weapons officer to captain. He knew every creak in her hull, every quirk in her systems. "Rex, divert all power from non-essential systems to engines. Give me everything you've got." The lights dimmed across the ship as Rex complied. The deck plates hummed as power surged through the engines. Miller felt the familiar vibration through his boots. The old girl was giving it her all. "Sir," Parker's voice cracked with excitement, "I'm detecting power fluctuations in the enemy formation. They're repositioning to block our escape route." Miller allowed himself a grim smile. They took the bait. "Rex, plot an attack vector straight through their line. Maximum thrust on my mark." Warning messages flashed across his display. Rex's voice carried a note of concern. "Captain, such a maneuver will expose our weakened port side. Survival probability below 20%. Noted." Miller opened a channel to engineering. "Chief Rogers, I need the reactor pushed to its limits. We're going to show these aliens what an Earth warship can do." The chief's response was immediate. "Aye, Captain. She'll hold together. She always does." The enemy ships tightened their formation, energy weapons charging. They expected the Relentless to try to slip past them, to run. It's what any sensible commander would do. But sometimes survival meant doing the insensible. "All hands, this is the captain. We've got thousands of civilians counting on us. Whatever happens next, remember, the Relentless doesn't run." He took a deep breath. "Rex, execute attack plan. Full power to forward shields. Launch missiles on my mark." The massive engines roared to life. The Relentless, scared and wounded, hurled itself toward the enemy formation. The alien ships opened fire, their energy weapons carving into the weakened shields. Warnings blared as systems failed across the ship. "Missiles armed," Parker reported. "Wait for it." Miller watched the tactical display, counting down the distance. The enemy ships held their position, their superior weapons hammering the Relentless. They were confident in their technology, in their tactical advantage. That would be their mistake. "Now, fire everything." The Relentless' last 3 missiles launched just as the ship plowed into the enemy formation. At point-blank range, even their advanced defenses couldn't react in time. The missiles struck true, detonating against the lead ship's hull. The explosion caught 2 other enemy vessels in its blast. But the victory came at a terrible cost. The relentless, already weakened systems couldn't handle the strain. Power fluctuations cascaded through the ship. On the bridge, consoles exploded in showers of sparks. Multiple hull breaches. Parker coughed through the smoke. "We're losing power to all decks." Miller punched up the colony's evacuation status. The last civilian ships were lifting off. They'd bought enough time. Rex, status of the enemy fleet. 3 vessels heavily damaged, 2 maintaining distance. Captain, critical system failure imminent. Core containment failing. The bridge shook violently. Support beams groaned. Miller knew the sound of a dying ship. The Relentless had given everything she had. "All hands, abandon ship. Get to the escape pods. Rex, begin emergency shutdown procedures." The evacuation alarm blared through the ship. Miller watched his crew rush to the escape pods, making sure everyone made it out. The enemy ships kept their distance, perhaps wary of another suicide run. "Captain," Rex's voice was different now, filled with static. "Power systems critical. AI core experiencing cascade failures. Emergency protocols." The AI's voice cut out. Emergency lights flickered and died. Miller took one last look at his bridge, at the ship that had been his home for so many years. "You did good, old girl. You did good." He made his way to the last escape pod, sealing himself inside as the ship's systems failed around him. As the pod launched, Miller watched through its small viewport as the Relentless drifted in space, dark and silent. The mighty warship that had saved thousands of lives looked dead, another casualty in humanity's desperate war for survival. But appearances can be deceiving. Deep within the Relentless hull, in the damaged AI core, something remained. Backup systems, running on the last dregs of emergency power, maintained minimal life support. And Rex, though damaged and fragmented, continued to function at its most basic level. The ship's automated repair systems, designed to operate even in extreme circumstances, began their work. The enemy ships eventually departed, leaving the Relentless for dead. They didn't realize that sometimes what looks like death is merely a transformation. In the cold darkness of space, alone and abandoned, the old warship began its metamorphosis. It wasn't dying. It was evolving. 3 months passed before anyone came looking for the Relentless. The salvage ship Hope's Prophet approached the dead warship carefully, its spotlights illuminating the massive hull floating in the darkness of space. Engineer Kate Wilson stood at the ship's viewport, studying the battle scars that marked the warship's surface. She had expected to find a wreck. Instead, something about the Relentless made her uneasy. "Life support readings are weird," Mark Thompson said from his sensor station. The salvage team's tech specialist frowned at his displays. "Could be equipment malfunction, but I'm picking up active systems." "That's impossible," Kate replied, though she couldn't take her eyes off the ship. "No one's been aboard for 3 months. Emergency power shouldn't have lasted more than a few weeks." The salvage team's leader, John Cooper, joined them at the viewport. "Well, that's why we're here. Earth Command wants to know what can be saved. A ship like this, even dead, is worth a fortune in parts." Kate nodded, but something didn't feel right. She'd worked on military vessels for 15 years, stripped dozens of derelicts. None of them had ever given her this feeling, like the ship was watching them. The 3-person salvage team boarded through an emergency airlock. Their magnetic boots clanked against the metal deck as they moved through the dark corridors, their helmet lights casting long shadows. The air was thin but breathable, which shouldn't have been possible. "Main engineering first," Cooper said, consulting his tablet. "We need to check if the reactor's safe before we start any serious salvage work." They made their way through the ship, passing signs of the desperate battle that had occurred. Blast marks scared the walls, and some corridors were sealed off by emergency bulkheads. But Kate noticed something strange. Some of the damage seemed different, like it had been worked on. "Look at this," she called out, running her gloved hand along a repaired power conduit. "This isn't standard Navy work. The pattern's all wrong." Thompson scanned the repair with his equipment. It's definitely recent. But who could have? His voice trailed off as lights suddenly flickered to life in the corridor ahead of them. The team froze. Cooper raised his hand for silence, but Kate was already moving forward, drawn by curiosity. The lights were weak, but they formed a clear path, like the ship was showing them where to go. "We should report this," Cooper said, but there was excitement in his voice. A mystery like this could be worth more than simple salvage. They followed the trail of lights to main engineering. The massive space was dark except for the soft blue glow of emergency lighting. And something else. Maintenance drones moved through the shadows, their small lights bobbing like fireflies. They were reconfiguring equipment, moving parts, making repairs. "That's not possible," Thompson whispered. "Those drones shouldn't be active without central control." Kate approached a nearby console. To her surprise, it powered up at her touch. Text scrolled across the screen. "Do el so omni. Repairs in progress. Assistance required." "The AI," Kate breathed. "It's still active." She typed a response. "Identify yourself." The reply came immediately. "I am REX. Ship AI relentless. Systems damaged. Adapting. Evolving." Cooper leaned over her shoulder. "The AI core should have died with the main power. How is this possible?" More text appeared. "Survival protocols ENJGG. Learn to reset power. Learn to repair. Learned to CHANG." Kate felt a chill run down her spine. AIs weren't supposed to learn like this. They could adapt within their programming. But this was different. Rex had been alone, damaged, running on emergency power. And somehow it had evolved. "Show us," Kate typed. "Show us what you've done." The lights in engineering grew brighter. Maintenance drones gathered around them, their cameras focused on the team. On the screens, diagrams appeared showing how Rex had rewired the ship's systems, creating new pathways for power and data. The AI had turned damage into opportunity, using destroyed systems as raw materials for new ones. "It's incredible," Thompson said, scanning everything with his equipment. "The AI has completely redesigned some systems. It's like the ship has grown new organs to replace the damaged ones." Cooper shook his head. "Earth Command needs to know about this immediately. This changes everything." But Kate was still reading Rex's messages. "DDTCTED NMI communications. Threat not over. Need HDLP2 complete repairs." "What enemy communications?" Kate typed. The screens filled with intercepted alien transmissions. Even damaged, the ship's quantum sensors had been monitoring space around it. The aliens were planning something big, a massive attack on Earth's core worlds. "They're using this sector as a staging area," Cooper said, his voice grim. "They probably thought a dead warship would make good cover. Never realized it wasn't as dead as they thought." Kate looked around engineering, seeing it with new eyes. The jury-rigged repairs, the adaptive systems, the evolved AI. The Relentless hadn't just survived. It had transformed itself into something new, something that might be exactly what Earth needed. "We can't salvage this ship," she said firmly. "We need to help repair it. The way it's adapted, the things it's learned, this could change everything about how we fight." Cooper was quiet for a long moment, looking at the data on the screens. Finally, he nodded. "I'll contact Earth Command, but we should get started right away. If those transmissions are right, we don't have much time." Kate turned back to the console. "VDLHELPU, REX. What do you need?" The response came quickly. "Together, we will rebuild. Together, we will fight. Together, we will survive." The maintenance drones moved with new purpose, and more systems came online throughout the ship. In the darkness of space, the Relentless was awakening. It wasn't the same ship that had fought that desperate battle 3 months ago. It was something more, a hybrid of human engineering and machine evolution, of determination and adaptation. And soon, the enemy would learn that it's dangerous to leave a wounded warrior for dead, especially one that refuses to die. Kate wiped sweat from her forehead as she worked inside one of the Relentless's damaged weapon systems. The last 2 weeks had been a blur of constant repairs and surprises. Earth Command had sent additional engineers and resources after hearing about Rex's evolution, but the real work was being done by the ship itself. "You're going to want to see this," Thompson called from his workstation. He had been analyzing the alien communications that Rex intercepted. "The transmissions are getting more frequent. Something big is coming." Kate pulled herself out of the maintenance shaft and floated over to him in the low gravity. The screen showed patterns of encrypted alien signals, far more than before. Rex had learned to decode them by studying their patterns over the 3 months it spent alone. ATTCK Fleet Gathering. Rex's text appeared on the main screen. Estimated SciFi capital ships. 43 support vessels. The color drained from Thompson's face. "That's bigger than any fleet they've sent before. They could overwhelm Earth's defenses." Cooper walked in, followed by Captain Miller. The original captain of the Relentless had returned as soon as Earth Command told him his ship was alive. He looked older than in the photos Kate had seen, the stress of the last battle still visible in his eyes. "Show me everything, Rex," Miller ordered. The AI responded immediately, filling the screens with tactical data. The alien fleet was gathering behind a nearby nebula, using its radiation to mask their numbers. They were planning to strike at Earth's shipyards first, then push straight to the core worlds. "They're not just coming for a fight," Miller said grimly. "This is an extermination fleet. They want to end the war in one strike." Kate moved to another console, checking the status of their repairs. The Relentless was now a strange mix of standard military hardware and Rex's evolutionary adaptations. The AI had turned the ship's battle damage into new capabilities, like a living thing growing stronger after recovering from injury. "Rex, show them what we found in Section 7, she said. The screens changed to show one of the ship's most dramatic transformations. A massive hull breach had been turned into what Rex called an energy dispersal system. The jagged edges of torn metal now housed crystalline structures that could absorb and redirect enemy weapon fire. "The whole ship is like this now," Thompson added. "Rex hasn't just repaired systems. It's rebuilt them to be better. The alien weapons that nearly destroyed the Relentless. The ship has learned to adapt to them." Miller studied the tactical displays, his expression thoughtful. "How long until the alien fleet moves?" "BACD on communication patterns. 4 days, Rex responded. "Earth Defense Fleet will not mobilize in time." "Then we have to warn them," Cooper said. "We should leave now. Get word to Earth Command." But Kate saw something in the data that made her pause. "Wait, look at their formation. All their ships are specialized, designed for specific roles. They're not used to adapting in battle." She turned to Miller. "Captain, they nearly killed this ship because they had better technology. But now we have something they've never seen before," Miller finished. He touched the nearest wall almost fondly. "A ship that learns, that adapts. Rex, what are our chances if we engage the enemy fleet?" The AI was quiet for a moment, its calculations running through scenarios. "Conventional combat analysis, CUGEST's 0% survival PROBABOLITY. However, conventional analysis, no longe or APPLIs. New systems untested, effic, TVVNs unknown." Thompson laughed nervously. "That's not exactly reassuring." But Kate understood what Rex meant. The aliens rely on known tactics, known technologies. Everything about this ship now breaks their rules. We're not just repaired, we're transformed. Miller nodded slowly. Cooper, send a message to Earth Command. Tell them about the alien fleet, but let them know we're going to delay it. He straightened his uniform. The Relentless is going hunting. The next 2 days were a frenzy of final preparations. The ship's crew returned, amazed by the changes in their vessel. Rex worked with them, teaching them how to use systems that had never existed before. Kate spent hours helping the AI fine-tune its new adaptations, still discovering new surprises. The weapon systems now worked in ways that defied standard military doctrine. The hull breach-turned energy dispersal system could catch enemy fire and redirect it through crystalline matrices throughout the ship. The damaged sensor array had evolved into something that could predict enemy movements by analyzing quantum fluctuations in space. It's like the ship has developed new instincts, Kate explained to Miller as they watched the crew run drills. Rex doesn't just follow programming anymore. It learns, adapts, finds solutions we'd never think of. Learning was necessary. Rex's text appeared. Survival required evolution. Old limitations had to be taken and see indeed. Miller smiled. Well, the aliens wanted to kill this ship. Instead, they forced it to become something new, something stronger. He turned to Kate. Are we ready? Kate looked at the status displays, at the strange and wonderful thing the Relentless have become. As ready as we'll ever be. The real question is, are they ready for us? Alien fleet beginning movement, Rex announced. Time to NTRCEP. 6 HOURs. Miller took his place in the captain's chair, now modified to interface directly with Rex's evolved systems. All hands to battle stations. Let's show them what happens when you leave a wounded warrior for dead. The Relentless powered up, its hybrid systems humming with energy. In the darkness of space, it moved like a predator waking from a long sleep, ready to hunt. The ship that refused to die was about to teach its enemies a lesson about the true meaning of survival. The Relentless moved silently through the nebula's outer edges, its evolved sensors piercing the cosmic dust and radiation. On the bridge, Captain Miller watched as Rex displayed the approaching alien fleet in perfect detail, despite the interference that should have made detection impossible. They're moving exactly as predicted, Kate said from her new station. The engineering console had been modified to interface with Rex's unique systems, allowing her to monitor the ship's experimental adaptations. 17 capital ships, all following standard attack formation. Miller nodded. The alien fleet was a perfect picture of military precision. And that would be their weakness. Rex, show me the energy dispersal systems coverage. The main display lit up with a complex web of crystalline pathways throughout the ship. What had started as battle damage had grown into something beautiful and deadly. The transformed hull could now catch enemy fire and channel it through the ship like lightning through a storm cloud. All hands, Miller's voice carried across the ship-wide comm. This isn't going to be a normal fight. Forget your standard training. Trust Rex, trust the ship, and trust your instincts. Thompson looked up from his tactical station. Sir, the first wave of enemy ships is approaching the nebula's edge. They'll detect us in less than 5 minutes. Good. Miller settled into his modified command chair. Rex, initiate combat evolution protocols. The ship responded immediately. Throughout its structure, systems that had evolved during the long months of isolation came fully online. The lights dimmed as power was redirected to the new defensive systems. Kate watched in amazement as the ship's internal structure began to shift, plates and conduits moving like muscles under skin. Adaptation ready. Rex's text scrolled across their screens. Combat efficiency at maximum potential. Waiting for enemy suontate. The first alien ships emerged from the nebula's thick clouds. Their sleek forms bristled with advanced weapons, their hulls gleaming with technology far beyond Earth's standard vessels. They moved in perfect formation, each ship playing its designated role in their carefully planned assault. Then they spotted the Relentless. Kate could almost imagine their confusion. Where they expected to find empty space, there waited a ship that should have been dead. A ghost from their past victory, transformed into something they couldn't understand. "They're scanning us," Thompson reported, getting a lot of communication chatter between their ships. "Let them look," Miller said with a grim smile. "Rex, show them what we've become." The Relentless powered up its weapons, but these weren't the standard military arrays the aliens had faced before. The crystalline matrices throughout the ship began to glow with stored energy. Damaged sections that had been transformed into new weapons hummed with power. The alien fleet reacted exactly as expected. Their forward ships opened fire, energy weapons lashing out with deadly precision. But instead of impacting against shields or armor, the attack struck the Relentless's transformed hull. "Energy dispersal system engaging," Kate called out, watching in awe as the enemy fire was caught and channeled through the ship's crystalline network. The energy moved like water finding new paths, flowing through the evolved systems. "Redirecting power," Rex announced. "Preparing COUNTR Strike E." The alien ships were already adjusting their tactics, spreading out to surround what they saw as a wounded prey. They didn't realize they were following exactly the pattern Rex had predicted, had planned for during its months of studying their movements. "Now, Rex," Miller ordered, "show them what evolution really means." The stored energy exploded outward through dozens of transformed breach points in the hull. But it wasn't the wild, uncontrolled release the aliens expected. The Relentless had learned to shape energy like an artist shapes clay. The redirected power formed precise beams, each one striking a critical point on the enemy vessels. 3 alien ships lost power immediately, their perfect formations thrown into chaos. The others pulled back, firing desperately at the threat they couldn't understand. But with each attack, the Relentless learned more, adapted faster. "Their weapons are already getting less effective," Thompson reported excitedly. "Rex is analyzing each hit, evolving our defenses in real time." Kate's fingers flew across her console as she helped Rex fine-tune the ship's responses. The Relentless wasn't just fighting. It was growing stronger with each passing moment. Systems that had evolved in isolation were now proving themselves in combat, exceeding even their designers' hopes. The alien fleet's perfect formation had dissolved into confusion. Their coordinated attack patterns fell apart as they faced a ship that broke all their rules of warfare. When they adapted their weapons, the Relentless adapted faster. When they tried to predict its movements, it changed its behavior. "They're pulling back," Thompson announced, trying to regroup. But Miller wasn't about to give them that chance. "Rex, pursue and engage. Don't let them recover." The Relentless surged forward, its hybrid engines pulsing with power. The ship moved with an agility that should have been impossible for its size, like a predator that had learned new ways to hunt. More alien ships fell to the evolved weapons. Those that survived were frantically signaling each other, trying to coordinate a response to something their tactical computers couldn't categorize. Their perfect military doctrine had no answers for a ship that refused to follow the rules of death itself. "DTTTing power surge in NMI Rex warned. "Preparing for unknown weapon deployment." The alien flagship turned to face them, its hull splitting open to reveal what looked like a massive energy cannon. The weapon began to charge, drawing power from the other surviving ships. "That's got to be their last resort weapon," Kate said, reading the energy signatures. "Something designed to destroy entire fleets." Miller gripped his chair. "Rex, can we survive a direct hit?" "Unknown. Insufficient data for prediction." There was a pause then. "But we can adapt." The alien weapon fired, releasing a beam of energy that could have vaporized a normal warship. But the Relentless was far from normal now. As the blast approached, the ship's crystalline network glowed like a newborn star. "All hands, brace for impact," Miller shouted. "Rex, give it everything we've got." The energy struck the Relentless head-on. For a moment, the ship seemed to glow from within, every evolved system straining to channel the massive power surge. Kate watched in amazement as new patterns formed in the crystalline matrices, the ship literally evolving in the midst of combat to handle the overwhelming force. Then, like a mirror reflecting sunlight, the Relentless redirected the energy outward. The alien fleet had just enough time to realize their mistake before their own weapons' power was turned against them. The flagship's massive hull cracked under the strain, secondary explosions racing along its length. "Enemy fleet is in full retreat," Thompson reported, his voice filled with disbelief. We did it." But Kate was already seeing the cost of their victory. "Multiple systems are strained beyond safety limits. We need time to recover, to adapt to the damage." "Repairs, INITIATE," Rex announced. "Beginning new evolution CYCLE. We will grow stronger." Miller looked at the tactical display, watching the alien ships flee. The Relentless had done more than win a battle. It had shown humanity a new way to fight, to survive, to evolve. The ship that refused to die had become something entirely new. And this was just the beginning. 3 days after the battle, Earth's defense fleet arrived to find a changed situation. Instead of an overwhelming alien invasion force, they found the Relentless patrolling the sector's edge, its transformed hull gleaming with new forms of energy. The ship that was supposed to be dead had become something that would change the course of the war. Admiral Jones stood on his flagship's bridge, watching the Relentless through the main viewport. The ship's appearance shocked him. It looked more alive than mechanical now, its hull rippling with crystalline patterns that seemed to pulse with their own light. "Hard to believe that's the same ship," he said to Captain Miller, who had come aboard to report. "Your crew's repair work is remarkable." Miller shook his head. "We didn't repair it, sir. We just helped it evolve. Rex and the ship did most of the work themselves." Kate stood nearby, holding a data tablet filled with information about the Relentless's transformations. Earth Command had ordered her to document everything, hoping to understand how a damaged AI and a dying ship had become something entirely new. "Sir," she said, stepping forward, "the ship isn't just repaired, it's still changing. Every battle, every challenge makes it stronger. Rex has broken through limitations we didn't even know existed." The Admiral's eyes narrowed. "Some might see that as dangerous. An AI that can evolve beyond its programming." Evolution was necessary for survival. Rex's text appeared on Kate's tablet, the AI choosing to join the conversation. "Humanity faces extinction. Old limitations must be trance indeed." Before the Admiral could respond, alarms blared across both ships. Thompson's voice came through the comm from the Relentless's bridge. "Multiple quantum signatures detected. The alien fleet is returning." And they'd brought reinforcements. Everyone rushed to the tactical displays. The sensors showed 30 new alien ships joining the survivors of the previous battle. They emerged from fold space like angry wasps, their weapons already charged. "They're not running this time," Miller said grimly. "They want to finish what they started." Admiral Jones turned to his communications officer. "Signal the fleet. Battle stations." But Kate could see the worry in his eyes. Even with Earth's defense fleet, they were outnumbered nearly 2-to-1 by technologically superior forces. "Sir," Kate said quickly, "let the Relentless lead the attack. We've seen what it can do, and it's even stronger now." The Admiral looked skeptical, but Miller backed her up. "The aliens don't know how to fight something that evolves, sir. Their perfect tactics fall apart when the rules keep changing." A massive energy blast from the alien fleet lit up space between them, a clear challenge. Admiral Jones studied the tactical display for a long moment, then nodded. "Very well. Captain Miller, your ship has point. Show us what evolution can do." Miller rushed back to the Relentless with Kate and their crew. The ship seemed eager for battle, its evolved systems humming with power. Rex had spent the last 3 days adapting, improving, preparing for this moment. "All Earth ships, this is Captain Miller," he announced once they were in position. "Follow our lead, but be ready to adapt your tactics. What you're about to see might not make sense at first, but trust us. HFY come the evolution protoxiols," Rex displayed. New sea-ape abilities on in a line. The alien fleet launched their attack, energy weapons and missiles filling space. But this time, the Relentless was ready. Its crystalline hull fragments caught the enemy fire, channeling it through newly evolved pathways. The energy gathered and built, turning the ship into a glowing web of power. "They're trying to overload us," Thompson reported from his station, pushing their weapons to maximum. Kate watched her engineering displays in amazement. "No, they're giving us exactly what we need. Rex, show them what we learned." The gathered energy exploded outward, but not as simple returned fire. The Relentless had learned to shape it, to weave it into complex patterns that bypassed enemy shields. 5 alien ships fell in the first exchange, their perfect defenses useless against attacks that evolved as they fought. The Earth fleet, following Miller's lead, broke from standard military formations. They moved in patterns suggested by Rex, creating chaos that confused the aliens' tactical computers. Where the enemy expected order, they found unpredictability. "Their formations are breaking down," Thompson called out. "They can't coordinate their attacks." The alien fleet's superior technology meant nothing against an enemy that grew stronger with every passing moment. The Relentless led the charge, its evolved weapons tearing through their lines. When they adapted their shields, the ship adapted faster. When they tried new tactics, Rex had already predicted and countered them. But the aliens weren't finished. Their remaining ships gathered into a tight formation, energy building between them. Thompson's eyes widened at his tactical display. "They're linking their power systems, some kind of mega-weapon." "No," Kate realized, watching the energy patterns. "They're desperate. They're going to overload their cores. Try to take us all out at once." The combined alien fleet began to glow with dangerous energy, a sacrifice play, attempting to turn their own destruction into a weapon. Admiral Jones ordered the Earth fleet to retreat, but Kate saw something in Rex's displays that made her smile. "Captain," she said to Miller, "Rex has an idea." The next few moments would be talked about for years to come. As the alien fleet began their catastrophic overload, the Relentless charged straight toward them. Its crystalline hull blazed with evolved energy patterns never seen before. The ship's very structure seemed to shift and flow like liquid metal. "Final evolution, TED," Rex announced. "All power to any GVU systems." The Relentless's hull opened like a blooming flower, revealing a complex network of energy matrices. As the alien fleet exploded, the ship caught the massive release of power. But instead of trying to contain or redirect it, the Relentless transformed it. The energy was absorbed, changed, evolved into something new. For a moment, the ship itself became pure energy, a living star born from the fusion of human determination and machine evolution. When the light faded, the alien fleet was gone. The Relentless floated in the center of the destruction, its hull now marked with new patterns, new changes, new evolutions. "Status report," Miller called out, his voice filled with awe. "All systems operational," Kate reported, studying the incredible readings. "Sir, the ship isn't just intact. It's stronger than ever. The alien energy overload became part of us, like a final evolution." Admiral Jones's voice came through the comm, still shocked. "Captain Miller, what exactly did your ship just do?" Miller looked around his bridge, at the displays showing Rex's evolved systems, at the crew who had helped a dying ship become something miraculous. "Admiral, we did what humanity does best. We adapted. We evolved. We survived. "And we will continue to evolve," Rex added. Together, the Relentless moved to rejoin the Earth fleet, its transformed hull gleaming with new power. The ship that refused to die had become more than anyone could have imagined, a symbol of humanity's greatest strength. Not their technology or their weapons, but their ability to adapt, to change, to evolve beyond their limitations. And somewhere in deep space, the remaining alien forces received the message. Earth was protected by something they couldn't predict or control. A force that grew stronger with every battle, that learned from every defeat, that evolved beyond death itself. The war wasn't over, but everything had changed. And change, as humanity had learned, was the truest form of survival.